Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Godzilla film podcast episode, which has been a while since I've done one, and but this one is going to be like a cross between podcast and interview. In this episode, I will be talking about a fan film of Godzilla Battle Royale right here, and yeah, which it came out 10 years ago and for its 10th anniversary. And we have a special guest here for tonight. He is the main star in this fan film. Please welcome to Billy. How's it going, Billy? Long time no see.
Yeah, a long time no see since the Godzilla Final Wars podcast.
Yeah, that was like last year.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that was. And this, yeah, that episode we did it beats a new record of all my previous Godzilla podcast episodes. That one's over like almost over 2 hours.
Oh,
Yep, that's a new record.
I hope I didn't go way too long for your listeners.
Oh no, you're all good, Billy. And so yeah, I've been looking forward to talk about your fan film of Godzilla Battle Royale, and let me just say to you, Billy, I love the film. I I just I can't wait how I first discovered this. I mean, just like I did in my previous episodes, and how I first discovered this film. I mean, way before that. I remember. I think a few years like after I discovered YouTube. I remember watching a few Godzilla YouTube videos, and I just saw this YouTube video it's like someone recorded a guy in a Godzilla suit. I think it was like the Hyper Godzilla suit. I think
Yeah,
that was I think
Jacob Baker suit.
yeah, they show like a clip of that. I was like, where is that from? It's, and then yeah, that's how I discovered that clip, and then a few years later, when that I remember that I think how I first discovered this film. I remember that I think me and my stepdad, like first my stepdad just showed me something on social media that a fan made Godzilla film is showing at an old classic theater. Is that was it at Pickwick or a different movie theaters?
It was Pickwick.
Oh, okay. Like, yeah, I remember when. Yeah, because I actually saw that film in at the Pickwick Theater 10 years ago. That I remember. Yeah I wish I have a photo of me with the Godzilla suit that was for a prop. It was a picture of me with my classic old classic hat and my classic suit. And I remember that going to that theater and I saw the suit. I took a selfie with me that
Aw.
I I think it was my stepdad took that shot. I mean, is and I remember that's how me and you met.
Yeah. Did we meet before that? I could have sworn we might have, but I, I might be blanking on my memory there. I could have sworn we've met before, either at a G Fest or Monster Island Toys or
Oh,
uh
oh yeah, Monster Island Toys. Just I love that store so much. That
I do
board.
miss it. I miss Loris. Uh, he's still around. It just I haven't talked to him in a little while, but I think he still sells some of his stuff online. I could be wrong, but
Uh, I I I remember going to that store a lot. I
oh,
mean,
I did too.
yeah, I remember I met him a few. Yeah, I did met him a few times when I go into the store. I'm like Loris's number one customer.
I shopped for quite a bit at his store. I it was he moved it several times. At one point it was in Arlington Heights, another it was by the White Sox stadium, and then he moved it at another place around there. Uh but I would always take my suit there and try and get customers to come in the store with the suit.
Ah, and yeah, I remember watching his upcoming videos with the Cookie Monster and
Oh
all
yeah,
that.
I remember those 4 cookies.
Yeah, yeah, I give it 3 cookies. Yeah.
Oh, you do the voice better than me.
I miss that store and his videos.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
were
and
good times.
yeah. But anyway, so I went to the Pickwick Theater. That's how me and you met, and I remember that before you showed the movie, I think you gave like an announcement that about this film, and then tell you all about it. I mean,
Yep.
I think I think I remember there was a fan film before you showed yours. I mean,
Yes, that was Madzilla, the kid Maddox who um he was the he was the Make-A-Wish kid, and then a film crew actually one of his wishes was to play Godzilla in a movie. So I think a filmmaker volunteered to help him, donated a lot of his time. They got several people involved. I think the mayor of Chicago was involved, and then Ditka, I think, was involved. Or it's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, I wanted to show his film there because it was gaining traction at the time, and I'd met the family, very nice, and Maddox was really cool. He liked my suit, so I came out for his birthday one time with the suit, and I
mm.
asked him if it was okay if we played his film because it was about like 13 minutes or so. So I figured, oh, what the hell? Why not show it with my film? And
uh,
they did. So wanted to help his cause out as much as I could.
so it's like a double feature package, and
Yep.
yeah.
And also, I forgot to mention Jacob Baker, Hyper Godzilla. He actually donated his Hyper Godzilla head to Maddox, who I believe still has it.
Wow.
Yep.
It yeah, and I remember when I saw the poster at the theater, it looks so good. I
Oh,
mean the poster was done by Matt Frank himself, right?
you are correct. Matt Frank himself.
Yeah, Matt Frank was a great artist. I did had him on my show one time for Gamera.
Oh yeah, I love Matt. Great guy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he could do an artwork of me of my channel.
That would be sweet. I would talk to him about it. Because I don't know what his situation is with commissions, but uh, yeah, that's to talk to him about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So me and my stepdad watched the whole film, and it was like I was like, wow. I bet it took you a long time to make this film. I remember you said it took you like 4 years to make this film.
Well, it took me a year to make my suit, and that began in 2008 until about 2009 when I finished the suit. And then I took it to G Fest at 2009, did the costume thing there. And that's where I met Paul Gavins with the Dojo crew. It hadn't been formed yet, but then the next year, 2010, he christened the Dojo crew, and he asked me and he asked a whole bunch of other kaiju cosplayers to help with this little commercial that they wanted to make for Dojo Shogun Warriors style commercial with the toys. But they decorated one Shogun Warrior toy as a G Fantas toy, and that was the gimmick of the whole thing. So then we filmed a bunch of stuff. My camera, Nick Cloutier's camera, Tristan Dome's camera, Paul Gavins's camera. And then I just was like, just out of curiosity, I asked them all, hey, could I use all your footage and see if I could edit together a little battle sequence since we got all this cool footage? And they're like, yeah, sure. So we did that. And then we came up with G Fantas Worlds Collide, which was the very early version of Godzilla Battle Royale. And
Wow.
and then we played that at before Ultraman the Next, I believe, at the Pickwick G-Fest 2011, and it got a really good response. Shinji Higuchi was in the audience; he liked it, and yep. And then that's where it tempted me to do more with it. I was like, oh man, I smell a fan film here.
Wow. So it took you like a year to make that suit from 2008 to 9,
Yep.
and and then you put together a fan film commercial in 2011, and that's like the years that was before I moved back up here in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Where were you from previously?
Yeah, I'm usually from Georgia,
Oh, okay.
my old home state. Yep. Uh, yeah, the old yeah, like the old South. And yep.
Nice.
And looks like we have a guest in the comments. Here's Walter. How you doing, my man?
Oh, hey, Walter, how you doing?
Yeah, I gotta have him back on my show someday. And
Nice.
yeah, so
Okay, I think I can post a comment now. Hey, Walter. I'm still getting used to how these things work. But no, I love Walter. He's kind of been a rock to me in times when I really needed a friend. And God bless you, Walter. Thank you
yeah,
for all the
yeah.
time.
Walter is very kind. He's like a brother to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And no,
and
we need more fans like Walter, honestly.
yeah, and so Billy, so you already did like a fan commercial of the suit and kaiju stuff. You said something. I mean,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this: like, how did you like came up with the idea for this film? I mean, besides making the suit.
Well, to be fair, as a kid, when I started getting into Godzilla around 1988 or so, I first saw clips of Monster Zero. Then I watched my very first full Godzilla film, King Kong vs. Godzilla, after that. And then I started discovering more of the films at my local mom and pop video store, Ken's World of Video. Man, don't you miss those old video
Yeah,
rentals?
that kind of reminds me when I was a kid.
Yeah, and
And I
how hard those movies were to find at those places,
Yeah,
right?
and that's where I first discovered my very first Toho Godzilla film.
Ah, yes, me too. That was at Ken's World of Video too. That was actually my third or fourth Godzilla film I saw, and that was quite a radical early one to watch amongst the Showa films.
Yeah, if you know that version I have was the booth length version disc.
The 85. Yeah, I prefer the 85 cut. I understand and I respect everybody who likes the Return to Godzilla cut. I just feel the edit of 85 fit more the American style. Although there are some choices in it I obviously a lot of us don't agree with and wouldn't fly today.
Yeah. All right, so hey, so you were saying before about
Oh
your
yeah.
childhood.
So I didn't mean to trail off. So as a kid, when I started discovering these films and I was discovering more of his friends and enemies, every time my father would take me into the Chicago, if we were going to the Shed Aquarium, the zoo, or a play or whatever, I would look amongst all the buildings, and I would always think, "Wow, I can imagine Godzilla and King Kong and King Ghidorah and Mothra and Mechagodzilla all fighting here." And that idea always lingered in my head. But then when I started making the suit, and then I started helping Paul with the video projects, I was like, you know what? I might be able to do something with that. And
Ah,
so the idea started brewing from the fan commercial. I tried to make a little story around what we had already shot. I didn't really start it from scratch. I started it from a previous project and I tried to flesh out a script from it basically. And it was
mm,
about half the monsters, half the cast, and I penned it myself. It wasn't that great, honestly. I need to
oh.
find that early script somewhere. I'm sure I'll probably laugh at it and be like, "What was I thinking here and there?" But I
Well,
got a lot of help from Josh Oshkosh Bagosh of the Lobster Dance Atlanta crew, if you remember them. Jared Faust.
I don't remember. I
Did
don't
you
know
ever
if I.
did you ever see their Ultraman sorta films?
No, and I'm glad you brought up about Ultraman, but to be honest, Billy, I've never seen any of the Ultraman series before.
I've only seen some of the early episodes, some new episodes. I've watched them way out of whack and way out of order. I do appreciate Ultraman. Do I have the same love for it as I have Godzilla? Obviously not, but I respect it's part of AJ Subaraya's creativity, and probably thanks to his free reign that he had on Ultraman, it gave him more ideas later on for what Godzilla could be.
Yeah, and 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 Walter says, take a great imagination to come up with a concept like you and others did.
Yep. And with great imagination, I think he knows what I'm going to say already.
So yeah, and it's like a great idea that the idea you imagine yourself imagine of Godzilla, Kong, and King Ghidorah are attacking Chicago, and it is like I've always imagined that too when I went to Chicago,
Yeah.
and
Because
and
Chicago, you think it would be a prime place for a good monster movie. I mean, you immediately think, oh, New York, oh, Los Angeles, but Chicago's right in the heart of America. Why not there?
yeah, I mean, it it is it's my sweet home Chicago, and is a home to the blues.
Oh yeah. I and plus we got one of the biggest buildings ever. Well, not really anymore. Now that we have so many other skyscrapers and buildings trying to top that record way in advance of the years to come. But the Sears Tower, not calling it the Willis Tower, the Sears Tower. And I
Y-
always wanted to see what those monsters would do to that Sears Tower.
Yeah, and even though there was a kaiju film that took place in Chicago of Rampage that starred The Rock.
Yeah, I appreciated it. It was fun.
Yeah, maybe I should do a podcast episode about it someday.
Yeah, you should. You know what? I do need to rewatch that myself. I've only seen it once, and I loved it, but now I'm wondering why I haven't rewatched it in a while. I'm gonna do that now.
And you know what yeah, like I know that Chicago is only like a few like a mile away from Rosemont,
Mhm.
and sometimes I call Chicago and especially Rosemont, I call it Godzilla's second home.
Aw.
Get it?
Yeah.
Because yeah, Japan is his main home. I mean, but yeah, but Chicago Rosemont is his second home, or you want to call it his vacation home.
Yep. His vacation stomping ground. And that's another thing. As a kid, I'm always wondering, well, Godzilla's always in Japan and Tokyo and and Osaka and all the other places.
And don't
Why didn't
forget
he go anywhere else?
and don't forget New York for
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
for
One
the
time in
US.
New York, and he was briefly there. And but I was thinking, why always Japan? Why not bring him to other countries? Why not another American city? And I get it. It's Toho's creation. They can do what they want with it. But in our minds, when we think of all the sky's the limit possibilities, you just ponder, where else could we see him?
Yeah, yeah, I always imagine what would Godzilla be like if he was in Chicago
Oh yeah,
and and our dreams come true. He was in Chicago in your film.
yeah. Now keep in mind, I'm not counting the legendary films. I do appreciate them, but we're talking the Toho Godzilla.
Yeah, and and I noticed that when I mean, yeah, let me tell you how I first discovered G-Fest. I first discovered G-Fest back in 2014, but I didn't go that year. Yeah,
Uh,
but
that's when
but
I showed the film there.
yeah, but how I first you want to know how I first went there for the first time? I
How
went my first time visited there in the year 2015.
Yeah,
Yep,
I remember meeting you that year.
yeah, and yep, that was the year that I went to my very first G-Fest convention.
How was
Yep,
it for you?
it was like, let me tell you, Billy, it was an amazing experience. I felt like heaven.
Yep, that's exactly how I felt for my first one in 2005.
Yeah, I only went there for one day only every year back then, but now I go there for the whole weekend.
Yeah,
And yep, and I realized next year will be my 10th anniversary of going to my very first G Fest.
it's gonna be my 20th anniversary next year,
Wow.
and man, I can't believe it. Like, I didn't go all days, all years, although for the past, I wanna say maybe 15, 16, I've been going all weekend. The first one I went all week, and the ones in between those, I either went one day or just went to the Pickwick movies to see it, but I still technically was there. Um, but yeah, after 20 years, man, wow. So I think back, and that's a long time.
Yeah, good times. I mean, and so yeah, and I'm really looking forward to meet you there again for next year, and especially all of our other friends. I mean, G Fest is not just you go there to get all the toys or everything. G Fest is also about like going there to learn about more about Godzilla and making some friends there who
Mhm.
are Godzilla fans like us. And that's what I like about G Fest. Also, I'm starting making new friends.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about G Fest is when you run into new people who have similar interests or even opposite interests, but you can still debate friendly amongst yourselves. Now, sometimes you run into people who aren't so friendly about that, and yeah, not getting into that though. I think
Yeah.
you're well aware of that.
well, well, I well this year at G Fest, I know I did my very first panel there to talk about
Yeah, that's
the.
right. That's right. How'd you feel about that?
It was an amazing experience doing my very first panel. I was like, so nervous, and it was my first time, and
Oh, you did good up there, man.
yeah, and before the panel, I remember I think it was like an hour before the panel, when I was walking in the hallway and the crowd of people, I actually like bump into one of my fans. They asked me like, "Are you that autistic lizard guy?" I said, "Yes, I am." And then they said like, "I subscribe to your channel. I'm like a fan of yours." And
Aw,
they asked for a selfie with me. Like that's like the first time I ever met one of my fans.
it's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, and so and then I remember that I remember watching your film for the second time. Like I think it was like a month or a year after I saw your film in Pickwick. I mean, I watched it on I watched it on YouTube, the full version on YouTube. I mean, I remember that it's almost like a YouTube extended version of it. And well, what I learned that you made like that your film it's like you made two cut versions of it, like your original theatrical version on that's only on the Blu-ray and the you the YouTube the YouTube edited version of it that you have on YouTube now. Like, because I the reason I brought it up is because I remember that the YouTube version it has like for the opening credits, it's just has the monster sound effect, but the Blu-ray version has some a music background
Well,
to it.
it's the same version. It's just
Yeah, I
Coco or Aural Vampire, the composer of the song that's playing in the credit scene, probably had an issue with it, and they didn't copyright strike my film, but they took the music out. Plus, my film was nearing 1 million views when they did that, and I didn't want to do anything that was going to offset the views,
like
kind of thing. So I just put a disclaimer saying, this is the song that was playing. If you want to grab a separate window and play the song while it's playing, or hey, this is why this happened and why I'm keeping it that way.
yeah.
I understand the casual viewer won't have time to read that and will be like, "What the hell?" But that's the risk I took.
Yeah, and this is why I do podcasts instead. Because like I used to edit the fan made trailer videos back then, but I used to upload those on my channel, but I deleted them myself because I'm always afraid to get copyrighted.
Yeah, that's another reason why I haven't done too much on YouTube lately. I want to, but I really love the old days when you can just take songs without worry, even though you're not monetizing them, you can still get in trouble.
Yeah,
So you got to be careful, and you got to credit things, and you got to put that disclaimer up. So I really would need to shadow underneath a YouTuber now to really understand how it works, because it's a lot different than how it used to be. I think you can agree.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, the YouTube version. I mean, is I know it's the same film. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
the music takeout. I mean, to be honest, Billy, I like the Blu-ray edition version of it.
Yeah. Um, that's the best I can offer. Although when we just showed it at the York Theater there, they actually took my full file and made a DCP format out of it, and it looked and sounded amazing on an actual theater screen, even better than the Blu-ray ever could have done.
Yeah, and I have learned that some. And let me ask you, Billy. I mean, so some of these shots in the film, I mean, some of them were shot at actual G Fest, right? At the
Yep.
old building that where it used to be.
Well, G-Fest was only at that one building with the big blue walls one time, the Stevenson Convention Hall. And we haven't been back there yet, although I hope we go back, because it, as you've seen in the past few years, it's been growing more and more. I have a feeling we're going to outgrow the Hyatt very soon.
Yeah, and I know I miss the G Fest that where Caddyshack was. I mean, the restaurant.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but
in
and
Crown
I
Plaza.
yeah, but I like the O'Hare Hotel version with because it's much bigger.
Oh, it's grown. Over the 20 years I've been going to G-Fest, it's amazed me how much it has grown.
Yeah, I love that area more where GFS was now.
Although there are times I still miss it being at the Crown Plaza, because that was, to me, the home of G-Fest. Though there's other previous hotels. I don't know if you ever went in that room where it gives the bullet points of past G-Fests, but there have been many other hotels around the Rosemont area. Even one time in California they had it, and maybe New York, or maybe that's the whole G-Con thing. But yeah, G-Fest has a very extensive history.
Yeah, and but the Crown Hotel where GFS used to be. I mean, and that's where the All Monsters Attack convention was there. I mean, yeah, yeah, and so yeah, so some of it were taken at G Fest, but some of the shots were were filmed at your place that you had a green screen, right?
Yep, I did some filming at my house with the green screen and the blue screen. Some of it I filmed at Jacob Baker's house in St. Joe, Arkansas. I also filmed a little bit at Jeff Magnuson's house all the way in Sydney, New York, for his Mechagodzilla suit. I filmed a bit in Georgia with Jared Faust and the Lobster Dance guys in Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Ah, my old hometown, and
Oh, that's
it's
your hometown, Lawrenceville?
oh wait, no, that's not it. It's
Oh,
you
okay.
just mentioned Georgia, and speaking of my old Georgia friend is on here. Is hello, Mr. Monster Man. That's his nickname. I mean, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I bet you had to travel all over the different
Uh,
states to film that.
it was a lot of driving.
Yeah, I bet you were like exhausted from all that driving.
Oh, yeah.
And
That was a lot of driving, a lot of gas money, a lot of, yeah. It was worth it to me, though.
yeah, and and I and I let's talk about the cast. I mean, your character. I mean, you did an amazing job playing. What
Wow.
I forgot your character's name. I mean,
Razor Shark,
Razor Shark.
Matthew
And,
James Kennedy.
and yeah, and I guess, and when I saw the film, and I mean, I I gotta be honest. I mean, this film and kind of remind me of. I mean, it does remind me a little bit of like this film is almost like a remake to Godzilla Final War a little bit. But this film also reminds me a lot of the film 1941. If you saw that, if you ever heard of that film,
It's been a while since I've seen it, but okay, go on.
you know the and
Yeah.
yeah, this film it kind of reminds me of 1941, the film, and it's because your character is almost like a little bit of John Belushi's character in that one.
Oh, man. I've never heard that one. I do need to rewatch that film, 1941.
Yeah, Wild Bill Casa, like
Oh,
it's
there were some very funny moments in that film. It's
yeah.
genius.
The
Plus, you had,
reason
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, the reason why I thought your character reminds me of John Belushi's character from 1941 is because your character he pilots a plane, a fire jet, and then John Belushi's character just flies a battle plane. Like, yeah, it's like it's Wild Bill Costume.
I keep forgetting that Toshiro Mifune is in the Japanese submarine with Christopher Lee in that.
Yeah.
Toshiro Mifune, who has given us so many films from Akira Kurosawa, a classical, one of Japan's greatest actors, is in a Steven Spielberg film. What do you know, man? That cast is just crazy.
Yeah, like it's Hollywood. Yeah, I gotta watch that film. I definitely want to do a podcast episode about
Oh,
that.
you definitely should. In fact, I got to rewatch that film. It's been so long.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I got to answer Walter here 1 second. 4 years.
This one.
Film itself. Yep. And then 2 years before for my costumes. Sorry, Walter. I'm not used to podcasting, so I'm still getting the hang of this.
Yes. And let me ask you this, Billy. I mean, how did you get all your friends, aka the cast, to join this film? Were there
Well, some were friends of mine from the theater community. Some were friends of mine through G-Fest. Some were just friends I've known for a long time. And some I actually found on Craigslist. It's kind of a wild mix of all the above. And
yeah.
you have to keep in mind, a lot of these people were not Godzilla fans, except for James Sason and Jonathan Goldwyn. And you know what? Oh yeah, Aaron Heminger and his wife Jessie Fletcher were Godzilla fans too. I might be missing a few, so if I did, I'm sorry. But yes, it was quite many different personalities I had to wrangle for this film.
And yeah, and I gotta say the other cast are like amazing job. I mean, and I especially love the bloopers video that
Ah,
they did, and it's
those
some.
are all our funny stories making that film combined.
When
Just
I watched the bloopers, I mean, some of those shots were like shot in your garage, like with the green screen. I mean,
yep.
yeah, I just
Yeah, that was those were some fun shoots, although they got tiresome at times.
yeah,
And friends trying to remember lines that uh, a lot of my friends who I had in there, some of them had acting experience, some of them didn't. Some of them would forget lines, some of them would be questioning, "Why am I saying this? What?" And you know what? Looking back on it, I can see where some of their frustrations might have been, and I never wanted anybody to not have fun making this film, but I did try to take people's suggestions where I could. Sometimes I was a little firm on other things, but it was still a nice experience working with everybody.
yeah, and then it's yeah, and it's and but sometimes I forget some of my lines too when I would like whatever time I do an unboxing videos and to reveal some figures. I mean, sometimes I have to like, especially for the opening for my unboxing videos, I get a little mixed up with my words and my lines. Ugh. Sometimes I had to stop recording and record it again to start all over on before I open a package. I mean, that's what I felt. I mean, at least like I forget. I get mixed up with my words when every time I do unboxing videos.
Hmm. Howard, I'm just curious, like, do you have fun doing those videos? Because I've always wondered about maybe doing my own.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I still enjoy them. I'm right now. I'm taking like a I'm right now. I'm taking a break from them because Christmas is coming up. I had to do my Christmas shopping.
totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah, just save up my money for the family.
Yeah. I gotta do the same myself. So, but yeah, I do miss all my cast that I've worked with. I don't get to see a lot of them. Others, unfortunately, we don't talk anymore. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
like
you know what? It happens sometimes. You can't avoid it. No matter with some
grow.
people, no
They
matter
just
how much you try to maintain friendships,
they just grow apart.
you just grow apart. And
Uh,
there's nothing that can really stop that or change that. That's just how life works sometimes.
no, I feel sorry for you, Billy. I mean, that's sometimes I felt that way too of me losing some friends.
Really? How so? If
Well, sometimes.
friends that you've collaborated with?
Well, I mean, I like like I lost some friends sometimes, especially who that you know from school
Yeah,
for a long time. I mean, they sometimes they forgot about you, and sometimes I forget about them. And it just sometimes we just have nothing in common, and we grow apart. And sometimes people change.
yeah. Did you ever see the documentary Mifune
Hmm.
on Netflix for a while? But it talks about Toshiro Mifune and all his years working with Akira Kurosawa. Keanu Reeves narrated it, and Haruo Nakajima uh,
Oh,
was interviewed on it.
oh, I did not know that. I know I haven't
Oh,
seen it.
great documentary. Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese are interviewed, and then the question came up in that film: why did Toshiro Mifune and Akira Kurosawa all of a sudden stop working together? Because that's been a mystery for a long time. They gave some hints, but you can tell that the people being interviewed aren't. They know the full story, but they're not telling. But Martin Scorsese summed it up the best this way. And this really gave me some realization for what you're saying and for what I'm saying. when you lose a friend you feel like you've done a lot with or collaborated with. He states, in terms of Mifune and Kurosawa, we want collaboration to continue, but sometimes in the creation process, people just use each other up. And there's not much more you can do after that than offer them your love and support, and that's it. If you can't instill, but if you split off, I mean, it's pretty much that just some point you didn't realize it, but you just used each other up, and you need to split off. And right there, it made me realize with some of these people I worked with, yeah, we used each other up, regardless of whose fault it was or whatever. If
Well,
you're not feeling joy working with somebody, it's imminent that you're going to split off.
well, I don't blame you, Billy.
Well, I'm not totally innocent in all the things I've done as far as this film or other things. I can be a very stubborn person. I have depression. I suffer through things. I'm not perfect. But
Yeah.
I try to work through it. And I'm willing to see my own faults.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Same with me. Like I felt the same. I mean, but let's get back to the casting. I mean, so I want to talk about the some of the special guests in this film that made a great cameo, like
Oh yeah.
Robert Scott Field and M11 himself, and Akira Takarada.
Yep.
They make a great cameo appearance.
Oh yeah. And that was actually thanks to Robert Scott Field that happened with Akira Takarada.
Yeah, I remember when I saw this film for the first time, I didn't even recognize Robert Scott Field. I mean, I didn't even recognize him. But now, years later, a month ago, when I saw your film in theaters again, that's a different location. I mean, I actually do recognize Robert Scott Field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I miss him. I wish he could come back to G Fest. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I miss him too. I did almost got him on my channel to make him as a guest for my Godzilla versus King Ghidorah podcast, but I understand he was busy a lot. I mean,
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Have you heard the story about how we got them in, or do you want me to go into that?
I mean, if you want, you're the guest.
Well, I'll give you the short version because I've told the story many times, but the short version was that Robert Scott Field, he had been an interpreter to the guests at many of the earlier G Fests, and I asked him if he wanted to take part in a little cameo. He said sure, and then I found out Takarada was coming in 2012, and then I kind of asked him nicely, "Hey, think you can put in a good word for us?" And he's like, "I can't promise anything, but I'll try." And then when G Fest came, I think he had also been working with JD Lee's and Paul Gavin's for Paul Gavin's thing already, unbeknownst to me. But I have been asking him for GBR, but I would have still said, "Hey, want to help with Paul's thing anyway too?" So then 2012, I asked him again, and he said, I think he might be up for it. And because I was expecting no, I was a little surprised there. Then he came in, and we all dropped what we were doing in the dojo room. We filmed, and also Ben For You of Ultraman. They came with them.
Wow.
But I should have on the fly figured out something for Ben For You to do. I was just so excited. I didn't know how to handle it. I regret not asking Ben For You. That was a mistake on my part. But we asked them if they were still interested in some quick little green screens for Paul Gavin's Mecha G Fantas Backfires, and then Godzilla Battle Royale for me after that. And they were just so gracious to help us with whatever we needed.
Yeah, and and I remember the audience cheer when he first appeared, and when when you released your film and
Oh
at the
yeah.
Pickwick, everyone was cheering. Like,
Oh yeah.
especially a month ago that I saw your film. I mean,
Yeah.
at yeah, me and you almost sit next to each other. Like,
Yeah, we did. And dude, thank you so much for coming to that. I just got to say, you have no idea how much I appreciate you and the several others who did actually come.
yeah,
I won't lie. I was really hoping a lot of my cast and crew could be there. Some of them tried, but they couldn't make it due to sickness, due to commitments, or other things. But then there were a lot of cast and crew who didn't even message me back when I asked them if they want to come. And I
no,
look, I'm not trying to make anybody look bad. I'm not going to say names of who or what, but
I
all I
understand.
can all I can say is I still thank them for their contributions. I wish they could have celebrated and saw what it meant to other people, but you know what? I can't make people do that.
Oh,
But it was still you, I mean, you get what I'm trying to say.
yeah,
I felt a little disappointed, but I was still thankful for all of you who did show up because you know what? It wouldn't have been an event without you guys there.
yeah. I understand, Billy, but I'm always supportive of you and your work,
Oh yeah,
and
I try to be supportive of your thing too,
yeah. I mean,
and other people's things too.
yeah, and I'm glad I got to see your film again in theaters. I mean, because it was Godzilla Day, and I'm a Godzilla fan myself, and I when I hear you when you're re-releasing your film in a classic theater like you did 10 years ago, I mean, I wanted to do it again to re-experience it. I mean, and to support your hard work on this film.
Yeah, the staff at York Theater they were very nice to me, and I would even be tempted to do another rental there for something else, like maybe for a fandom event or something maybe more legit. Because I loved working with them, and they were very nice to make that DCP file almost for free. But I gave them a little donation for helping me out there.
Yeah, and yes, yeah. So yeah, so I and I and I gotta say, Billy, I would give this film 10 out of 10.
Aw,
Yeah, and
thank you.
yeah, and I'm glad that, and I'm amazed that this took place in Chicago, and and I love the art cover that Matt Frank himself did, and I know I'm an artist too myself. If you know, I have some King Kong fan arts right here.
I can I just stop you and say I love your art, and I think we talked about this before. But did you ever think about doing a little
Yes,
art
I know
piece
what you're thinking.
for Godzilla Battle Royale? I'll pay you a commission or whatever you need.
Yeah, I was planning to make my own fan art movie poster of your
Oh,
film.
I would be totally honored if you did one. And like I said, if you need a commission fee, talk
In
to.
fact, I'm working on the design details of it right now.
Oh,
I haven't got started yet, but I'm just working on the details.
I always loved seeing your artwork for all the other Godzilla movie posters. You have a very unique style.
Thanks. And I just wish I could sell copies of my fan art to GFest someday in the future, but but GFest's new
Yeah,
rules and yeah.
I know there's things about it that I don't fully know or understand. I get I can understand why they're trying to take precautions, and I'm not trying to play either side. I just want to support G Fest where I can. I wish it could go back to the old days? Sure, but yeah,
Yeah. And I miss I miss that too. I wish I could sell copies of my fan art, and I'm not doing this like for the money. It's just want to sell them to support GFest and selling copies of my art. I mean, that people who loves my art so much just to make them happy.
yeah. Though with Godzilla Battle Royale, you understand, I could not ask for a dime, and I knew going in I couldn't. I couldn't make money off this. I did it
Yeah,
for fun. I've even had people offer to pay me for my film, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, I can't take your money. Otherwise, Toho is going to crucify me for doing that.
yeah. But my fan art, if I would give, when I give my fan art to some of my closest friends, I'm not charging them. I just give them my fan art for free.
Well, I mean, with artists, I get it's a little different, and I try to support the arts of whatever where I can. So, I mean, that comes with the artist territory. I think you can agree.
Yeah, and and wow, it's almost an hour already. Wow, time
Yeah,
flies.
sorry if I trailed off.
Oh, that's okay. That's no worries at all, Billy. I mean, we
Um,
could go as long as we want. I mean,
I did want to point out. I don't know if you saw my one post. All right, I had two things. Did you know that somebody on in the fandom apparently put up an IMDb page for Godzilla Battle Royale?
no,
Oh, I'll send it to you later. It's on IMDb.
yeah, I'm just not much of a social media guy. I mean, it's just,
Well,
but
I get it. You know what? I think we're all getting to that point with Facebook, with whatever you use now. I don't even use any of those other platforms. I used to be more a MySpace guy, but that went away. Um, yeah, social media, I think you can agree, is toxic.
yeah,
And no doubt I'm still using it. Kind of hypocritical for me to say. It's a way for me to still connect with friends. I would like to be rid of it one day. I-
but I understand. I mean, we all, but it, but there's just some people are with social media, whether they go on it a lot or sometimes they go on it less. I mean,
yeah.
they'll sometimes you won't go on it just once in a while. I mean,
Social media is something if you're strong enough, just delete it quick and have no regrets. But some people, what I've noticed, they just stop posting after a while and then it just becomes a musty old journal for them. And I think that's the latter is where I'm probably headed with it if things go well.
yes. Well, so let's get back to the film. So, and I noticed that some of the monsters and some of the monsters in there. I mean, I know they brought back the classic ones like Anguirus, Varan, Kiryu, Mothra, Gazora, Orga, Ebra, Hedera, and Kong, who was like a zombie in that one. I
Yep.
mean, who come up with Zombie Kong?
Well, as I've said in other interviews, that was kind of a case of I want Godzilla to fight King Kong, but I can't do it with King Kong as a bad guy. I can't recapture that magic from the 1962 film from Mashiro Honda. Uh, so what is the next best thing? How do I do this? And then I just thought, well, you can make Kong a rabid zombie. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, when I saw this, I mean, I don't know if this was based off of the original Kong after he falls off the Empire State Building. I mean, if he's I like
Well, oh, you're wanting an explanation of how King Kong is dead?
yeah, I don't know if it's like
I've had a lot of people ask me this, and you know what? It's kind of one of those you've ever seen Pulp Fiction where they always wonder what's in the briefcase, why is it glowing? The uh, what's the term I'm looking for? MacGuffin device. But King Kong in my lore, and you can disagree with it if you want, when Kong 62 is swimming back home to Faroe Island, and this is not the same Kong from King Kong Escapes, because everybody asks, well, what about King Kong Escapes? I'm like, that's a different Kong, because that's Kong from Mondo Island, and he's much smaller. That's
mhm,
probably a different show, alternate universe, for all we know. But
right.
he's swimming back to Pharaoh, and then the giant octopus, the same one from that drug under Frankenstein from Frankenstein Conquers the World, the bigger one, drug under Kong before he got home.
Wow.
And then his body, I guess some scientists in that realm found his body and brought it to a facility to study, basically. And then the alien queen somehow scanned and got access to the body and reanimated him with a zombie virus.
Wow. That is like interesting.
It's a sad way for Kong to die. I'll agree. It's the best explanation I can come up with. Although, if I could go back and do something a little different, I wish I probably could have had a moment where Kong realizes he's dead and kind of comes to his senses that he's not a bad monster, and then actually helps the monsters at the very end somehow, redeeming himself. That is one hindsight being 2020 thing I would have about my film.
And I understand that. I mean, that was I know King Kong versus Godzilla was Toho's first Kong film they ever made.
Yeah.
And King Kong Escapes was their second, and then they were gonna have Kong in Destroy All Monsters, but Kong's licenses rise of Toho was almost expired.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been really awesome to see him in Destroy All Monsters. I've always wanted to see King Kong against King Ghidorah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Very underdog, interesting fight.
Yeah, and Billy. So I want to talk about like this kaiju character that
yes. Well, there's kind of a backstory there. That started with Paul Gavins's idea for Gephantus versus Thing, but that design of Thing is actually a concept from the Marvel Godzilla comics, Rayan, the pancake monster with his tail that would act like a helicopter, except that one's tail didn't act like a helicopter. We gave him wings. So there's a difference, but the head still looked very similar to the Marvel comic, which we didn't call it Rayan, we called it Shirakuna for that project, Gephantus versus Thing. But for I didn't really give it a name in my film. It's just there, but I refer to it as Rayan.
Oh, and I gotta say, this creature kind of almost a little similar to Megaguirus a little bit.
Yes, we gave him the Megaguirus roar because I was like, well, we don't have Megaguirus in this, and I mean that's about the closest roar I can envision him having. So let's just give him Megaguirus's roar.
Yeah, and I want to talk about. I think we have time to talk about one more. I mean, I want to talk about the villain in this. That the evil space queen. I mean,
yes, I loved Vika as Queen Ixasis, Vika Zyka.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she's like based off this villain character in Godzilla Saves the Earth video game.
A little bit, actually.
Yeah, I knew it because she does look a little similar to that character in the Save the Earth game. Because I could tell by the cover of this because the eyes look similar.
Oh yeah, and actually, Matt Frank had asked me for Vika's pictures so he could get her eye lines right, and he did a fantastic job recreating Vika there. Yes, I remember in the Godzilla Save the Earth game, I did use that alien queen-like character for some inspiration, but I also used Rita Repulsa for inspiration, and get this, Disney's Sleeping Beauty's Maleficent for some inspiration too.
Oh yeah, because of the transformation of Queen Ghidorah.
Yes, and you know what? I almost gave her Maleficent's line before she turns into the dragon, where she's like, "Now you kaiju will face me and all the powers of hell." I wish, you know what? I really wish I added that line, just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
No pun intended. So, and there was one other inspiration. You remember the aliens get-ups from Gamera versus Giron and versus Zigra? The cute little tight spandex look the alien girls had?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Did you ever see those films?
Oh, Gamma versus Zigra
and Giron. The alien girls were wearing some kind of cute attire, where like a
that was
leotard and some tights. That's where her outfit idea came from.
wow. And I want to talk about the those Hedera human hybrid creatures
Yes,
that you got
you
to
can tell I'm
fight
a
in
big
the.
Resident Evil fan.
Oh, so
Oh,
I
have you
guess
ever played Resident Evil?
well I gotta say those creatures. I mean those Hedera human hybrid creatures. Was this like based off the Resident Evil 7 video game?
Um,
Or was it like a
no,
different
not
one?
7. It was based off of Resident Evils 2 and 5, and well, they were the liquor creatures that would crawl up on the wall and the ceiling. You couldn't make noise or they would find you because they're blind. And they had the big lance tongues that would fly out. I wish we could have done a tongue effect like that, but we could only go so far with those. And
Yeah,
but Jacob was very nice enough because he had a liquor suit. I brought up the idea, it'd be cool if we could paint those green and treat them as Hedra slugs. And his eyes brightened up and were like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And he actually did. I didn't think I thought he was joking. And he's like, no, I'm serious. I'm going to do it. And he did.
and
So,
I remember.
sorry, I see Walter has been sending us some things here. I got a little caught up with what we were talking about. I definitely would, because this is a person's dream that became a reality. And as a fellow kaiju fan, very proud of your achievements. Aww. You're talking about both of us there, Walter?
uh, and I know that those Hedera hybrid creatures are like amazing. I mean, and I noticed something like 2 years later when Shin Godzilla came out. I noticed
Oh, the
the ending part.
xenophobe.
Yeah, the ending part where with all the Godzilla human hybrid creatures came out of Godzilla's tail. I mean, they look kind of similar to the little Hedera hybrid creatures in your fan film.
That was a terrifying visual to end that film with, and it just makes you wonder, oh, what would that have looked like if they escaped his body, and then you had all these little creepy crawly shin people running around the city.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I wonder if Toho saw your fan film and they took the idea of the
Oh,
Hedra hybrid creatures and they just added to it in Shin Godzilla. I mean,
I really wish I could say that. I would be flattered if that was the case. Is it true? Probably not.
yeah, I mean,
I've had people tell me, "Hey, Shin Godzilla copied off your film with Hyper Godzilla's Purple Ray, or even with Godzilla X Kong," and I'm like, "Guys, no, that's just a happy coincidence. They haven't seen my film. If they did and they were taking notes, then I thank them. I don't own Godzilla, so they're not really copying off me. It's just it's just a happy coincidence."
yeah, and we're all thinking like we wish that Shin Godzilla would get a sequel, but it never happened.
It would have been nice, although I think one of those films was enough.
Yeah, I even did that episode with this guy right here.
Oh.
But
Oh wait, yeah. Did you take any influence from Dead Space since you mentioned Resident Evil? I'm not too familiar with Dead Space. I've only seen a bit of the anime and played some of the games with my friends. I was kind of a little buzzed when we were all playing it. Great game. I actually need to sit down and play it myself and then watch the anime all the way through.
I only played the second game that my sister used to play a lot.
Oh, really? How
Yeah,
much is it like Resident Evil? I do love Resident Evil, and I love all the games.
I'm not sure. I never played Resident Evil.
Oh, okay, but I would have to think it's kind of similar. Although, isn't it first person?
I'm I am not sure. I mean,
Dead Space, I mean, the game.
that I'm not really sure. I mean,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So yeah, so Billy, so before we wrap it up, I have one more question to ask. I mean, since your fan film was a hit, I mean, do you ever do you or ever have any plans to make a sequel of this in the future someday? Like,
Yeah,
oh
everyone asks me that. I mean, look at this suit right here. It may seem like it's not looks like it doesn't look too bad, but the fact is it's hard as a rock, and I wouldn't if I were to get into that thing, it would break apart. Um, could I
yeah,
make a new suit? Sure, I could. Could I get more people involved? Probably. Uh,
yeah, but you
I
could all
I don't know
yeah,
how you feel about this, but I thought GBR ended perfectly.
yeah. I mean, it's okay to have one film is enough. I mean, yeah, yeah, I mean, I know that in your special features of the Blu-ray disc right here, I mean, it shows you made a little memory video about the suit,
Yeah.
how it go to conventions and Comic-Con is that are that some areas, especially in Rosemont,
Hmm.
uh, yeah, right next door to G Fest and in that building where
I even took it to Dragon Con by you.
ah like yeah, I remember going to comic that Wizard World Comic Con as right that was in Rosemont. It was a great time there. I mean I didn't go this year. I mean maybe I'll go next year.
Yeah. Um.
And oh, I just realized, Billy. I did dress up as Godzilla before,
Oh, really?
but yep, but it's a different. It's not like your suit, but it's just an it's just an air flammable suit. One of those air flammable suits, and
No, I mean it's still a Godzilla suit.
yeah, and that suit I used to have was from the 2014 one, the MonsterVerse one from 2014, and I know that the fins are so short, and it's not like from the movie. I was gonna add, I was gonna have longer dorsal fins to it,
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, I decided why not go with the old classic Toho style, and I did. And I still have that suit to this day, but it was stored somewhere, and to be honest, it's not in good shape
Oh, really?
because of the fins.
Oh, did you spray paint the fins or did you use foam or what did you use there?
I actually use I actually use some a normal poster board
Oh,
that is kind of like this.
okay.
Yeah, and it's yeah. Some of the fins were just bent, and it's just because it's made of plastic paper, and
Oh, okay.
yeah,
There's no right or wrong way to make a Godzilla suit.
yeah. And that was my first experience playing Godzilla.
How did
That
it feel to you?
it feels amazing that I was Godzilla when I was in the suit. I did do Godzilla style when I was in the suit, and that was like back in 2015 or 16. I don't remember really.
Was this
That
at G Fest?
no, it was at Wizard World Comic Con
Oh,
in
okay.
Rosemont.
Wizard World. Sorry.
Yeah, and so yeah, so it was a great experience playing Godzilla. I mean, when I was at the convention, I mean, I was crowded by some Godzilla fans. They want to take pictures with me.
It's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a really great feeling. I mean, they want to take selfies with me, and then I even added some Godzilla sound effects in the head of the suit. I mean,
Oh,
I put a little speaker and in the
there you
mouth,
go. I
and
didn't have that in my suit.
I put Godzilla sound effects from my phone, and then I just I just reuse the sound over and over again. That will play. I mean, and sometimes it's hard to hear people when you have the sound effects on. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, it was hard to hear in that suit too.
yeah, and then I should wait to people. And I kind of like did one of those costume characters from Disney parks, and without talking when you're in the suit, like like one of
Yeah.
those. Like, yeah, I did that style. But yeah, it was a great experience playing Godzilla, and even my stepdad took pictures of me, taking pictures with fans, and especially he took pictures of me again out of the suit. Like I was holding the head, I was doing sticking my head, my body out, just like Hiro Nakajima did.
Trying to create that moment, weren't you?
Yep, I did create that moment, and yeah.
That's a good feeling.
So, anything else you have in mind before we wrap this up?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you very much for everybody who was nice enough to celebrate, acknowledge, shout out for Godzilla Battle Royale on its 10th anniversary. Especially, I want to take this time to thank Mr. and Mrs. Movies from that YouTube channel, You, Me, and the Movies, who were very nice to do a movie reaction of my film. You ever see movie reactions on YouTube, like by Popcorn in Bed or TBR Schmidt and the like?
No, I haven't
Oh,
watched those.
it's something I've gotten involved with in helping these people, but yeah, You, Me, and the Movies is like my favorite one of all of them. And I don't know, did you see their reaction yet?
No, I don't watch that
I'll,
much YouTube videos as much.
I'll
I
link
don't.
you later if you want to watch it later. But
Okay, I just don't watch many of other people's reaction videos that much. I mean, just
no, it's not for everybody. I get that. But you may enjoy this one because they do watch my film and their reaction. I I have to say, just them enjoying it was about the best thing that one of the best things I think my film has done.
yeah, yeah. Oh, and I also have one question, Billy. I mean, do you ever dream that Bandai will make a figure of your suits someday? I mean, just I
Oh,
mean, I
that would
mean,
be lovely.
I'm not. s- I'm
Although
just saying that if if you ever dream if Bandai would make a figure of your
I
suit.
would be I would be flattered and a half. Although Paul Gavins and even Nick Huber were nice enough to make some 3D print models of my figure here. Let me see if I can go get them here. Ow, I'm getting older here.
Oh, you mean
Here is Nick Huber's 3D print right here.
oh
Wait, hold on.
that that looks so
There we
cool. It-
go.
yeah, that's almost close. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's really neat. That's really cool and nice of them to make you that figure.
Yep. Wait, here's Paul Gavins's.
Oh, that's even. Oh, yeah, that's even better.
Yeah, he took a whole 3D scan of my suit when I set it up there.
Oh my gosh, I wish I would have a copy of that figure. I wish I,
It turned out pretty good.
yeah, I wish I get a copy of that figure and do an unboxing video of it.
Yeah, good likeness.
Yeah.
All right. But no, I would love for them to do 3D prints and even of Hyper Godzilla and the other designs too.
Yeah, I even saw the poster right there.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Actually, do you want to see where Queen Ghidorah is hiding?
Oh, where is Queen Ghidorah?
Here, I'll have to bring you up. Oh, sorry, Dahlia. My cat loves to run in front of me. All right.
Do you talk about the puppet prop?
Yep.
There she is.
Yep. Made by Chris Hunty Elchison, if you remember him. Godzilla X the Kaiju Killer.
Not too familiar.
Oh, you should watch it on YouTube. It's amazing. That fan film actually inspired mine.
Wow. That's really cool.
He made these out of masking tape, and I think he used towels and other materials. Isn't it amazing what you can do to make a monster prop like that?
Yeah, it is cool.
Sorry, I'm not good at
Oh, that's okay.
Laptop cameras to get the best view of it.
Oh, that's okay. I mean,
there we go. There we go. Oh. All right.
Yeah, and I want to say to you, Billy, thank you so much for joining me in this episode to honor to celebrate your film's 10th anniversary, and I still love the film to this day, and hopefully there are more fans out there who will be able to watch it more. And
no problem, man. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor. Hanging with you, being your friend, and I hope I've been able to provide inspiration for future kaiju fan filmmakers out there.
Yeah,
too.
hopefully you'll have me as a star in your next fan film, or you can also have me in a cameo in one of your fan films.
Hey, never say never, man.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Billy, and hopefully I'll have you on my show again someday in the future. And
I'd love to. Keep me posted if you need to talk about anything in particular.
Yeah, well, pretty soon I'll be talking about my very first Christmas film podcast episode, but
okay.
Can't tell you what it is. I mean, it'll be a surprise. And
Dai Kaiju Pictures wants to work on the sound effects. There we go.
thank you so much, Billy, and hopefully I'll see you soon and see you at G Fest next year.
You got it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.